Hey friends, it's Rabbi Jenny Solomon here at Beth Meyer Synagogue in Raleigh, North Carolina. I wanted to share a mincha moment hopefully of pause and inspiration as we continue on our spiritual paths, each one of us, and as a community. So we are approaching Tisha B'Av, the 9th of the month of Av. Many of you know this is really among the saddest days in the Jewish calendar. It's traditionally a fast day. We read from the book of Eicha, Lamentations, and what we mourn are the destructions of the two temples which stood in Jerusalem, the first one destroyed by the Babylonians, the second one destroyed by the Romans. And over the years, we have continued to add many other tragedies that have befallen our people as a part of this day of remembering, of sadness, of grief. And this Shabbat that we're approaching, this coming Shabbat, is called in our tradition Shabbat Chazon, literally the Shabbat of Vision. And we traditionally read a special haftarah, a special book, reading from the book of prophets, from the section of prophets in the Hebrew Bible, that really predicts what is going to happen: the destruction, the annihilation of our people, the physical destruction, but also the dispersion of our people, all the many ways in which we will experience this incredibly painful, destructive period in Jewish history. And so we get kind of a preview of what is to come on this Shabbat Chazon. So all of this is background to say that I think we can see this in our own lives, in our own experience. I know as a rabbi who's had the privilege of walking with people through their lives, and as a parent, and as a human with my own set of losses and challenging experiences, that loss and destruction and crumbling and dispersion are all part of the human experience. There is no possible way that over the course of our lives we don't, to some degree, have these experiences, no matter how hard we try, no matter how good we are, no matter how deserving we are of blessing. That's my experience. And as much as I would love to bubble wrap my children in particular and spare them the experience of loss, whether it's the crumbling and deterioration and brokenness of one's own body, or one's home, or relationships, or all kinds of other things that don't work out. I know I can't do that. So here's what our tradition, I believe, offers us in light of knowing that this is a part of the human experience. And the first is to remind us that we have spiritual resources, and we have the power to make choices about what we do with our lives, what we want to practice, what we want to shore up, what kinds of internal resources we want to cultivate and create. Knowing that when we meet those challenges, when we meet loss, when we meet grief, when we meet tragedy, whether it's our own personal tragedy or some kind of collective or national tragedy, we will have the spiritual resources, the resources in character and values and wisdom to respond wisely. And the other thing I think has to do with the name of this month. So this month that we're in is Av, which also means father. And our rabbis actually called this month Menachem Av, a comforting month of Av, or a comforting parent. And for me, this is really the beautiful key. That is, when we experience the inevitable difficulties that life deals out to all of us, we have, and it falls in this month of Av, according to our sort of the rhythms of Jewish life, we are reminded that we can respond with compassion, with comfort, with consolation. I know so many people who ask me over the years, they encounter somebody who's had some unimaginable loss, and they ask me, I don't even know what to say. I don't have the words. How can this be? I don't know how to respond to this person who's experienced some kind of loss. And I always come back to the same thing. There are no right words. There's only the expression and the manifestation and the presence of comfort and compassion, because none of us will be spared. And so as we meet the tragedies in the life of our people this week with Tisha B'Av, or in the week ahead, as we meet our own tragedies, as we meet the tragedies of others, we're reminded that in this month we can also be a Menachem Av. We can also be a comforting parent in the midst of that destruction. We can respond to one another and to ourselves and to our collective with kindness, with understanding, with compassionate sorrow, with empathy, with a loving presence. And that is a lot. That is not to be diminished or undervalued. So we know what's coming Saturday night as Tisha B'Av arrives. We know what's coming in this Shabbat Torah reading and Haftarah reading, Shabbat Chazon. And so too, we know in our lives we will meet loss and difficulty and tragedy and destruction and destabilization at moments. Please God, may they be few. But when we do, let's respond as a Menachem Av, as a comforting parent, as a loving parent. Shalom, peace.